This show highlights leaders, teachers, coaches, mentors, and even parents who are role models who help change our world. How have you succeeded, and who was your teacher and inspiration? Now, who are the people you teach and inspire? Listen to and watch our fascinating guests as they share colorful stories of success and how they help inspire. Now, here's Claire, the color-wheeling lady and our host.
Welcome to Colorful Journey of Success. I'm so glad that you joined us because we have a very special show today. In fact, we have a very special guest. She is very special in a very special way, and her name is Kathleen Faust. And it's my pleasure to introduce a woman who is a pastoral pastor. I'm going to let her introduce herself. That's probably a better. But she makes the choir and she makes the church just sing.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So maybe you should introduce yourself right now.
It's a longer title. I just received this longer title in January this year. So I'm the pastoral associate, and I'm the director of music and liturgy. And the director of music I've been since 2007, and that means that I to bring the people in. The liturgy part is working with all the other ministers that are there, the people who welcome those into the church, the people who serve the priests, who give out the communion. And the pastoral associate job is the newest one, and that means that I am the right-hand woman of the priest who I help take care of the parish with him so that I look at the needs of the people and the needs of the church.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. And what you're doing, I think, is so delightful because you're giving so much to the congregation. You really are. And when we leave, we keep that in our minds, and it's inspiring. And that's why we wanted to name this particular show about music, people, and music and people especially.
And prayer.
And prayer. And prayer. Well, now there's so much to talk about, but we have 30 minutes. We're going to take a break so you can play some music.
Okay.
So we're going to talk for about maybe 20 minutes, and then we're going to break.
Okay.
All right. So tell us about you. What is your background?
I've been a musician for as long as I can remember. I don't remember not being able to read music. I started playing piano when I was 6. I started to play flute when I was 8. I have a master's degree in flute performance. I did my undergraduate degree in flute performance, and I minored in organ and piano. So I have those 3. I worked for a number of years as an orchestral flutist. I had the joy of touring Europe and the U.S. for about 5 or 6 years. I toured and I played with U.S. orchestras as soloist, chamber orchestras, and in Europe. It was great.
What countries?
Oh gosh, it was all Northern Europe. So the UK, Ireland, Denmark, Norway, France. I was able to go into the Soviet Union when it was still the Soviet Union. So actually I remember the summer when we were touring was the summer of Tiananmen Square. It was a really horrible incident in our history. And we had a clarinetist in the orchestra who was from China. And so we were all really linked to him and his family. And so the Soviet wall had not come down yet. We went into the Soviet Union and we played a concert at St. Petersburg.
Oh.
Which it was Leningrad then, so we went to Leningrad, but now it's called St. Petersburg.
It's so exciting, isn't it?
It was wonderful.
It sounds so exciting. So you have, but music, share with us what is music of today and religion and prayer. You know, it's quite different.
Well, I think that the challenge is to draw so many, in our area we have people of so many different cultures. In our church we have people of all ages. They come from many different countries, and they all come together to pray and to feel God's presence. And my job with the music now at the church is to take my experience as a musician and translate that into connecting to people, not only through music, but through prayer. And music is sung prayer. People say a lot of times that singing is praying 3 times. So the choir's always kidding around about that they get extra prayer time. So finding music that will bring people together. We don't just sing the songs that people did, 30 years ago. I balance it so that we have old standards and we bring in the new composers.
I think that's wonderful. And what other services do you provide music for?
Well, first of all is the Mass. And if people don't know what the Mass is, the Catholic Mass is a celebration of the Eucharist. It's a celebration of Easter every Sunday, the risen Christ. And the liturgy, the prayers are in a 3-year cycle. The readings are in a 3-year cycle, and the prayers are given to us, and I match music that will enhance those prayers. Outside of that, people come to us for funerals. I play a lot of funerals and some weddings. And I also go out to visit people who are in their homes and can't come to church. I enjoy people a lot.
I can tell that.
I love music, and I love the power of music, and I like to touch people.
And the people
in a
like
spiritual
you.
way. Oh, that's what I hear.
That's what it's a real give and take. It really is. And so, when you talk about the ministers, share with us what is the minister?
The ministers in the church are all the other people that work with me to help put on the Mass or to help serve the Mass. It's like if you're invited to a dinner party, you have all the people that are there that cook and serve. Well, the liturgical ministers are all the people that serve the Mass. So the people that give out communion, the people there's boys and girls that are altar servers, and they hold the book for the priest and set the table. We have ushers and welcomers.
So
we have readers.
You have other people. You have a team.
And I have a team, right? The music. So my music team are the choir, and each Mass I have a different group of people, and they're all unpaid. They're all volunteers. I have all ages from, I think my youngest is Ariel, my pianist. She's just turned 9, and I have people in their 70s and 80s. I have chimers, so that, well, I brought the chimes, we can play those.
Yeah, okay.
My job is to really draw different people in, and
this
children.
Looks weird.
It looks weird. Well, everyone would know the handbells. People, I think, know what a bell looks like, and these are like the bells, but they're called choir chimes. So my chimer group plays these, and they're good for kids because they're easy. It's like you're flicking something off with your hand. Try full arm. So I have a group of chimers.
It just plays such a delicate sound, but it looks
soft.
Like such.
It looks a little industrial, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
But it makes a beautiful sound, and that is a way that I draw children into the Mass.
That's how you motivate them.
I have a good group of chimers. I have a family that plays. I don't think you've seen them, Claire. They play at a different Mass, an Italian family. The father with his sons, they do it as a family.
Oh, I think that's
It's great. And I have children that I meet during the week at our school that come to me on the weekend, and I always say, if you're here, come up and sing with me, play with me. So we have wind chimes, and we have drums and shaker eggs and tambourines, and we don't really rehearse that much with them. These kids have great rhythm, and I encourage them to just follow their spirit and join in.
Be involved. Be involved.
And
that
draws them in.
it's so different from when I was growing up. And I think it's delightful to have everyone so involved. And music is a way to involve people, isn't it?
It draws people in. Many times I've been called the Pied Piper. Well, I play the flute, so there's that whole story of the Pied Piper.
Right.
I feel the urge, I feel the calling to draw people in, to reach out to other people. And that's what I do. The church needs to move into the 21st century. We need to find ways to bring youth back in and to keep them there. And it's a
Well,
really
in a
difficult
way,
job.
also they do that because you have a website, or you have when you send out things on computer. Whoa, that,
Well, we have to meet people where they are, you know. Well, our pastor, Father Bob Leger, he does a wonderful job on our website, and
he's
started.
the one. I didn't realize.
Well,
he was
he
the
has
one.
a website, and then I have a website. They're linked together. We use Twitter. He tweets. I tweet. I do a blog. So that there's a website presence. I do an email to all of our liturgical ministers. So there's like about 130 people that read my emails each week, and I just keep them updated about what we're going to be doing that week, and kind of try and create a team atmosphere.
Yes, and that's and you do that. You absolutely do that. But I have another question. In what I understand, that you have a background as a Protestant. Is there? You know, I'm not sure how to address the question. In fact.
Well, it's interesting because sometimes when I try and do things at church, people will say, "Oh, well, we've never done that before." I don't have baggage from what Catholics did or did not do 20 years ago, because I was raised as a Methodist. And so I just have no fear. I just say, well, let's try this and let's try that. And they'll say, well, that didn't work before. And I think, it'll work.
Yeah.
And so I'm not held back by that.
That's perfect.
I'm told, too, that people really appreciate, you know, music in the Catholic Church, in any church. In Protestant churches, we always sang hymns. And the Catholic Church, we use some of the same hymns, but then there's this whole body of other music that I've learned for my ministry.
Well, I think I remember the hymns as I was growing up as a Catholic. And I can still remember wonderful thoughts. But I miss some of those hymns. But I love some of the newer hymns, and we're really connecting, and that's what's really important. Everyone is connecting. It is. And we are in prayer, in a sense.
Well, prayer through music is powerful, Claire, because when you sing something, you remember it. If I told you, memorize the words of this song, and you were just reading them, it would be harder to remember. But when you sing something, you always remember it. We remember the ABC song.
Oh, yes.
When I was teaching, there was a song that I taught my 5th graders about the capitals of all 50 states. And if you sang the song, you knew all the capitals. I have an interesting story about the power of sung prayer. I was at a conference in LA, and one of the speakers was talking about the importance of finding songs that stick in people's minds so that they carry the prayer with them throughout the week. And there was this woman that had her son at church, and she was always trying to teach him to sit still and be proper and pray and pay attention, and struggling with this as a little boy. She took him home one day and said, you know, this is it. I've been trying to train you to be prayerful in church, and you need to sit in the living room and time out and think about how you need to act in church. She went into the kitchen to cook lunch, and she heard out of the silence this little voice, be with me, Lord, when I am in trouble. So the boy was singing one of the songs from church, asking for consolation and forgiveness for God, and he knew the song, and obviously he was paying attention. And the mother heard him sing this and thought, he's fine. he's connected, he's fine, he's, you know. And so that just shows that you can hear songs and they can become your prayer during the week, and they stay with you.
And we learn by sight, visually, we learn by hearing, and that music is, when we hear that music and we see the lyrics up there flashed, you know, it's a wonderful way to bring everyone together. And we never really think of having to be so devout, but we're there as a community.
Well, you know, participation in the Mass doesn't mean that you have to sing all the time, but that you're there in your mind and your soul. And
right.
You might be reading the words, you might be singing them in silent prayer. It's all about participation.
And we want to hear you, and it would be really nice, because today we're going to give you a chance to to play and perform. That's going to be absolutely wonderful. And we're going to take a break. We're going to set things up, and then we'll have you play your flute. And I'll play, bring in the piano.
We're going to jam, Claire, right?
We're going to jam.
Okay. All right.
But I think what you're doing, I think everyone could think about this and really be motivated. And are you ready?
I'm ready, Claire.
Okay. Well, then, let's do it, because I want to hear you play.
Okay. We'll play together.
Okay. Hey, gang out there. Let's close it down and set this up again. I'm not sure what the crew. Okay, Kathleen, this has been so much fun. Now we're going to really go into action.
That's right.
Okay, but before we do that, before we have you play, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your instruments.
Okay, Claire. I brought some of the instruments that I use at Mass in the church, and I thought we could play with them. And lots of times at church, I have people come in and, I don't know who's going to be there, and I just draw people in on the fly.
I'm glad you didn't bring in your grand piano.
No, I just brought the little keyboard.
But
so
that's
one of the instruments that I use, we talked about, is the choir chime. And these are the choir chimes. They're very easy to play. And I'm going to show you how to play it. And you don't have any music, but I'm going to give you some motion cues on how you can play with me. So the choir chimes, you just play like this, like you're flicking something off of the tip of your hand. So I'm going to give you C and D. I use the choir chimes. I use my flute.
Okay.
I can't play flute and piano at the same time, but lots of times I'll play the flute and then I'll set it down and I'll play piano.
All right.
I have the piano. So
it's interesting on these chimes, it has the key.
It has the notes, so
and
that's
such a delicate sound.
It's sweet, isn't it?
It is.
It's a nice sound. So just full arm, perfect, perfect. So why don't we just try a song together, and like I do it at church, okay?
Okay.
I can't play flute and piano at the same time, so sometimes I cheat a little bit, and I play flute, and then I set it down, and I play piano.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the cues of when to play which note, and we're going to start out with flute. I'm going to play some piano and bring you in, okay?
So
this song that I thought we could do is "The Lord Is My Light."
All right.
Okay, because it's all about light and colors, right?
Okay. I'm saying a prayer. This is all going to work.
Okay. Here we go.
So that was C, the key of C.
That's right. You're going to play C with me, and I'm going to need some piano sound. And then once I hear the piano, we can play. So when I give you the signal, you're going to play C, and you're going to play D with me.
Okay, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And to the left?
Yeah, I need to hear my own piano. If we can get it back up there.
If the crew can please bring in the sound, please.
So usually at church I play flute and I put it down and I immediately start playing piano, and I segue it in there. Yeah.
Integrate it. So, but it's interesting that your music is on an iPad.
It is. This is great. The church, we put everything on an iPad, and instead of carrying around tons of binders and all this heaviness, I have it all there. I just touch the screen. I think we're ready.
Okay.
So I just finished playing the flute, and you're playing a C. So play your C. That's right, and I'm going to play some piano. Here we go. The Lord is my light, my help, my salvation. Why should I fear? With God I fear I dread. Good job, Claire. We're jamming. So it's tricky without the music.
Yeah.
But with the kids, they have the music, and I was just kind of giving you, I was going right and left, telling you which note to play. But I put it together on the fly, and I make music simple so that people don't have to rehearse for weeks. We just come together and we play together every week.
And you
pray.
are the Pied Piper.
I try to be the Pied Piper. I do.
Well, it's a lot of fun, but it does get a little, you have to get used to that. Because I'm kind of used to watching people just sway back and forth with music. And so I didn't realize, oh, I'm supposed to do something.
I know you were missing some of your cues, Claire, but since we didn't practice, it was excellent.
Okay, now the keyboard that you use to help you, talk about that for a moment.
Well, I use this keyboard in my own office. If I have people come in and we're planning a funeral or a wedding, or I have a cantor come in, I actually use this when I train my cantors. I have a cantor that's a person who sings at Mass, who leads the people in song. I have one who's in 5th grade, and she comes and she studies music with me, just in how to read music and how to sing. And we meet together, and I use this keyboard in my office.
Wonderful.
And she is really tiny.
Yes, I watch her.
Emiella, she's fabulous. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
many kids. I have Evie, a new one that's coming to sing. She's also, I think, in 4th grade. And I have Jordan. And I train them to sing along with the adults. The adults don't come in and practice with me as much as the kids do.
Oh, they probably think that's like, it's like a game.
Yeah,
It's
kids
fun.
like working with me.
It's fun.
Emiella, the first time she sang, she has nerves of steel, but she was a little afraid. And I was trying to get her to look out at the people as she was singing. And, you know, the trick where you look over their heads, so it looks like you're looking at them.
Okay.
And she was nervous, and I said, "There's angels in the loft. Sing to the angels." She did. She came back and said, "I saw the angels," and that was her first time singing.
Oh my gosh, isn't that wonderful? Well, you know what? I wish we had a lot more time to have you play and everything, but I think probably let's start wrapping it up, and then you play for the rest. And you're going to play us out.
Oh, I'm going to play you out.
Okay, but all right. But now to close this, you give us a little summary, though, of what you do as a music director.
I bring people together in sung prayer in the church. It's all about connecting with people, and I love to work with people. I like to bring them together. I like to touch them spiritually, and music is so powerful. People always remember it.
Yes.
So that's what I do.
So maybe in the future, 10 years from now, what do you see yourself doing?
I wonder about that. I like to write. I think I will continue to use music to connect with people. How can I connect with more people with music? That's the question. That's what I think that the direction I'm going. Touching more people with music.
And you certainly
somehow.
are. And
doors open. I don't know.
Okay, so Kathleen Faust. Right. Okay, you are the pastoral associate, director of music and liturgy, right?
Correct.
Okay, well,
Church of the Resurrection.
Church of the Resurrection.
Come by and see us on Sunday.
And you don't have to be Catholic.
No, you know, God is there, and He wants everybody to come join in, and
Right.
it's a wonderful place.
Yes. And I know I attend the service. I really enjoyed. It was really
Thank
nice.
you, Claire.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure working with you.
This has been wonderful. So why don't you play a particular piece? What's the name of this piece?
I'll just do a little bit more of this song because we only did half of it. The
Oh.
Lord is my light.
Would
We're
you
going
like
to
me
follow
to do the
light.
chime?
You
Play
may. You
okay.
may.
I see. I'll try and do better.
Okay. So the C and the D.
Okay, C
Here
and
we
D.
go. There we go. Here we go.
Okay. Oops. Switch.
That's good.
what's happening.
This show highlights leaders, teachers, coaches, mentors, and even parents who are role models who help change our world. How have you succeeded, and who was your teacher and inspiration? Now, who are the people you teach and inspire? Listen to and watch our fascinating guests as they share colorful stories of success and how they help inspire. Now, here's Claire, the color-wheeling lady and our host.
Welcome to Colorful Journey of Success. I'm so glad that you joined us because we have a very special show today. In fact, we have a very special guest. She is very special in a very special way, and her name is Kathleen Faust. And it's my pleasure to introduce a woman who is a pastoral pastor. I'm going to let her introduce herself. That's probably a better. But she makes the choir and she makes the church just sing.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So maybe you should introduce yourself right now.
It's a longer title. I just received this longer title in January this year. So I'm the pastoral associate, and I'm the director of music and liturgy. And the director of music I've been since 2007, and that means that I